We are live on the floor of the 2013 Global Real Estate Summit in Chicago, and I'm here with Jeffrey DeBoer, President and CEO of the Real Estate Roundtable, who just finished moderating a panel titled The Intersection of Politics and Real Estate, a Legislative Prognosis. So Jeff, I'm just going to start by asking, as the debate continues on with regard to the federal deficit and how to raise revenue and close the budget gap, how are the actions, or some might call it the inactions, on Capitol Hill, how are they affecting the real estate industry today?
Well, it's you wouldn't judge it by the noise behind us because everybody's very active, but really I think that what's happened, this is a microcosm of the uncertainty that pervades our economy and the real estate industry in some respects. Congress not making decisions on tax policy or manufacturing crises over the debt ceiling bill or health policy or what have you, all creates a climate of inactivity and uncertainty and unpredictability. So really from a big picture point of view, and we can talk about specifics within tax reform or deficit reduction, but from a big picture point of view, the situation involving inactivity creates a climate of business executives not wanting to take risk and not wanting to create jobs. And that obviously is the biggest concern for our industry because we need people to create jobs and take risks so our businesses can grow and expand.
It's interesting you bring up the point about uncertainty. It's been pervasive really throughout all the panels this morning. And I understand that at the roundtable you've been focused on a number of key policy issues that affect the commercial real estate. You've been active, you've been very vocal about them. Many of them do contribute to the notion of bringing greater certainty and predictability to the industry. But some of those are energy efficiency. You've been out in front of some of the new measures that are associated with that. The partnership tax, carried interest, and certainly the Foreign Investment in Real Property Tax Act, FIRPTA. So given everything on your plate right now, what do you consider to be the most pressing policy issues that are affecting the commercial real estate industry?
First of all, from a big picture point of view, the big issue that we want to do, and we evaluate almost everything through the prism of does it create jobs? And so we start from that point of view. But then when you get down to specific provisions, we want to reduce the barrier to capital coming into the United States for real estate investment. And that is this Foreign Investment in Real Property Tax Act. We really have to lower that barrier, allow this capital to come into our country and help re-equitize real estate, help create infrastructure investments and activity in America. And so that's maybe a top priority, a proactive priority. Another proactive priority is this terrorism risk insurance program. This is going to expire at the end of 2014. It's a situation where private markets, in this case the insurance market, cannot function to provide terrorism cover and provide insurance for buildings in America and business activity in America. And that program will expire. It's really a key question of how much government do we want? Do we want it intervening in markets? That's how it's viewed in Washington. And we think we need this program, we need it to go forward. And so, again, get rid of the barrier to foreign capital, allow insurance markets and lending markets to operate freely, and then you look at things like tax reform. We don't want a tax code that overstimulates real estate, nor do we want a tax code that penalizes real estate. And so we're working with Congress to try and make sure that real estate activities are taxed on an economic basis. And you mentioned, for example, energy. We want buildings to be incentivized to be more energy efficient. You know, a tremendous amount of energy is used in our country by building owners and particularly by tenants. And there's ways to help them become more energy efficient. And if we can reduce kilowatt usage, that's more powerful than creating new energy policy. So those are things, but tax reform, you know, we need a capital gains. We need a number of other of these provisions. So that's more defensive and TRIA and FIRPTA more offensive, I would say.
So let's talk about carried interest for a moment. In DLA Piper's 2013 State of the Market survey, we found that a majority of respondents, almost 75%, said they do not expect Congress to vote to eliminate the carried interest provision this year. Now, I know that you and the Real Estate Roundtable have opposed a proposed tax on carried interest, and you've noted that commercial real estate would be among the hardest hit by the measure. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
I'd like to believe that the DLA Piper survey is a reflection on their belief and optimism that I will be successful in Washington and not let it happen.
Absolutely.
So that's how I'd like to see this. But seriously, the carried interest issue is a very, very controversial issue. It's even controversial within the real estate industry, and it's controversial certainly in Washington. We think it's a key part of the way that real estate is developed and owned and financed. It's the way that partnerships have come together. General partners get a promote in recognition of the risk that they have assumed in making sure that the project goes forward, and in terms of the time horizon that it takes to do a successful real estate project. When I've said that real estate would be hurt more than other sectors, and keep in mind that the carried interest structure is part of partnership tax law. So partnerships all across the country use it. But the headlines have only focused on hedge funds, on private equity, on venture capital, and on real estate. They don't talk about these other types of partnerships. But within the context of those partnerships that are mentioned, 46% of all partnerships in America are real estate.
Again, that was Jeffrey DeBoer, President and CEO of the Real Estate Roundtable. Jeff, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very, very much.